JL, how's Alex Pearce going?
He's tracking well. It's going to be a bit too tight to get him up for this week. Probably hasn't quite progressed the way we wanted to, and to get him up for this week, it probably had to be perfect, and it just hasn't been. So, we'll have to give him a little bit longer.
Is he back running yet, or in drills? Where's he sort of at?
He's not. Yeah, he's not in drills. He needed to be in drills by today. So, he hasn't quite got there, but he's moving around, and he just probably hasn't taken that next step yet.
Is there an ETA for him as to coming back, or is it one of those ones with a hotspot you kind of load and deload?
Yeah, spot on. Like, it's a little bit KPI driven. So, we're managing him through that. I can't really put a time frame on it, but we're hoping for next week.
How's the health of the group? A short turnaround against Essendon?
Good. Yeah, a few bumps and bruises. It was obviously a pretty contested game in the wet. But the players are in good spirits, and we've moved on. So we're ready to get into Essendon. Did that this morning, and they're champing at the bit to train.
Got the job done in the wet, but there are a few metrics there, like tackles inside 50. Did you address that?
Oh, a little bit. The field position was a bit of an issue for us all night. Felt like we turned the ball over too much between the arcs, which fed their inside 50s, which allowed them to set the ground up the way they wanted, which fuels your pressure. First half, we were sort of bouncing out of our back half and scoring from stoppage, and every time we sort of got it inside 50, we looked really dangerous, but didn't quite get the game set up the way we wanted to for long periods of time, and that sort of feeds the tackle stuff. So it's an issue, but it wasn't probably the biggest issue in the game.
What was the biggest issue?
Well, I thought clearance was the issue early, and just dealing with field position. We like I said, we got stuck in our back half. It's hard to tackle inside 50 when the ball's not there. So minus 12 inside 50s or 13 inside 50s. There's a moment in the last quarter, probably the first 5-7 minutes of the last quarter, where it felt like we just went to sleep, where our pressure could have been better and our team D could have been better, and allowed them to get back into the game. I probably just didn't set the ground up the way we wanted to on our forward 50 entries, which contributed to that factor, but it was probably more the field position that was our biggest focus.
Another last super sub with Nat Fyfe, another good performance in the last quarter particularly. Full game?
He'll come into considerations, so we'll talk about that at selection. He might be a permanent sub, might be able to play to his 45 and do that for the rest of his career.
Does that come into consideration though? Like a body like Nat, where you go, like he is the perfect role. He's versatile. He can kind of come in and play that 45.
Oh, it's definitely an option, and that's what you look for as a sub. We'll consider it, but probably gut feel is you can only be sub for so long. We've had players who sub for 3 weeks in a row, and we probably feel like that is the max. So if he's sub this week, he'd probably be one more before we either have to get some game time at a lower level, or we have to get him in the team.
The Bombers have a teenage ruckman debuting. Do you sort of throw Jackson and Darcy at him, and is that an area you can sort of get on top?
We'll consider that later. See how Sean goes at training, in particular. They both, talking as though they've pulled up really well. And it's possibly an opportunity. I don't want to underestimate the young fellow. Like, he's been in really good form in the VFL. His ruck craft, from what I've seen in VFL games, looks really strong. He works hard around the ground, so definitely don't want to underestimate him. But probably hasn't got the experience of Goldstein either. So maybe there's an opportunity there.
They have a real issue though with their tall. They got a lot of injuries. Is that something you'll look to exploit this week?
It's certain times. At times that can be like a difficult one to exploit, and it's probably circumstances and making sure that we work together well as a forward line and try and create isolation. And talk about just trying to exploit their lack of tall defenders. You end up bombing it into packs all the time, and you don't really get the method you want. So largely we'll just play our way, as we spoke to the players about, understand that they've got a couple of things maybe we can exploit, or they've got a couple of real strengths that we need to make sure are across as well. So, but largely we'll just try and play our way.
what are you making of O'Driscoll? I think played a couple of games in the Waffle now and seems to do pretty well. Seems like a bit of a squeeze in there with Fife putting his hand up for a full game as well. Does he come back in this week?
I'll have a selection later. Yeah, Peel had a good game on the weekend. It was good to see Driz get back into some form. Will Brody played well. Liam Reedy put his hand up again as well. One of the rucks doesn't get up, so we had some good performances. Form at Peel's shifting as well and turning, and those players are putting pressure on players in the team.
A couple of guys who didn't end up getting up, Walters and O'Meara, how are they sort of tracking?
Probably similar situation to what they were last week. He didn't quite get up. We're probably a little bit more optimistic now. Got to get through training, but they're in good spirits, and I think their confidence is pretty high that they'll come back for some minutes this week.